Gentlemen, I wish to convey a concept that eludes many males. Touch encompasses more than merely one or two movements. It pertains to comprehending the regions of a woman's anatomy that elicit profound emotional responses, frequently prior to any physical manifestation. The truth is that most guys are familiar with only a few of these locations, if any. I have dedicated more than 20 years to my profession as a relationship psychologist, assisting couples at all life stages. Today, I wish to disclose what I hope every man comprehends from the outset. No embellishments, no conjectures, no hollow assurances, only what empirical study, neurobiology, and practical experience repeatedly demonstrate. Inquisitive. Do you genuinely understand where and how a woman prefers to be touched? I'm not talking about the obvious locations most men think of. I refer to the locations that evoke her emotions and the gestures that convey understanding prior to any physical response. Many men tell me, I know my partner well, yet when given this question, hesitate. Silence generally follows. Why? Because no one ever explained it correctly. There's no handbook, and women, even when they feel these requirements powerfully, frequently communicate them quietly through posture, eyes, and tiny gestures that most men miss totally. Today, I'll walk you through 7 key zones. But remember, these aren't just physical areas, they're emotional portals. When you understand them, and more crucially, how to handle them, the way your spouse responds can change radically. Your hands can become considerably more than just hands. They can turn into a language of connection, a means to communicate compassion without words. After more than 20 years dealing with couples, one pattern continues appearing. Most guys rely on instinct. They assume that touching the appropriate location instantly produces pleasure. But with women, pleasure doesn't start mechanically. It begins with emotional safety. Many men think they're doing the right thing. Yet, from a woman's perspective, the contact often feels one-sided. You may have pondered why she doesn't reply the way she used to, or why her reactions seem changed over time. The reality is simple. What men take for granted seldom elicits deep feeling for women. Women respond to intention, awareness, and presence. When she senses that you sincerely care with your whole being, her body naturally follows. But here's the tough bit. Women rarely lay out their needs. They show them. One patient once told me, "Don't touch me simply to touch me. Let me sense that you're actually there first." That statement describes what so many women feel. This isn't about physical touch alone. It's about opening a psychological door first. Zone 1 is the hands. Many men overlook them, yet a woman's hands are strongly related to her emotional world. Holding them carefully, tracing her fingers tenderly, putting delicate pressure to the palm. These tiny acts might make her feel truly seen and understood. In my profession, I've discovered that couples who keep holding hands, even after decades together, have a deeper emotional relationship. It's no coincidence. Hand touch releases oxytocin, the hormone of trust and closeness. One detail guys often ignore is significant. Neglecting her hands can ruin the situation totally. Clean, warm, well-aired for hands can make a tremendous impact in connection and intimacy. Zone 2 is the nape of the neck. Right at the hairline, stress typically accumulates without her even realizing it. A calm, soft touch here, without words, without expectation, can assist her body release and relax. This isn't about arousal. It's about comfort and trust. I recall a man in his late 50s who had been feeling emotionally invisible in his marriage. One evening, without any motive, he tenderly placed his hand on his wife's neck as she stared out the window. She halted, sighed, and turned toward him. That little wordless gesture rekindled a connection they had thought lost. Zone 3 is the lower back between the waist and hips. This area communicates steadiness, Placing your hands there lightly without grasping or constraining conveys, "I'm here, you're safe, and you're free." It's a gesture that works nicely in everyday moments. Morning routines, quiet kitchens, modest hugs from behind. Zone 4 is behind the ear, right beneath the jawline. Highly delicate, it's only available when trust is present. Gentle warmth, not pressure, opens it. One woman reported that this touch didn't make her feel desired. It made her feel genuinely valued. For many women, the sensation of being respected comes before desire. Zone 5 between the shoulder blades is commonly disregarded. Psychologically, it conveys safety, a place she can't see herself. A loving hand there reassures her, relaxes her nervous system, and soothes her thinking. It's not sexual, and that's why it's so strong. Zone 6, the inner thighs near the knees, demands clarity. This isn't intimate contact. It's a transitional area. Close yet courteous, provocative yet safe. Approached carefully, it indicates, "I'm near and I respect your pace." Many men skip this phase, losing emotional trust along the way. Zone 7 is the lower abdomen surrounding the navel L, and for many men, this one comes as a surprise. This location resides at the confluence of instinct and emotion, and it demands entire authenticity. When you place your hand here softly and warmly, as if holding something fragile, you're not just touching flesh. You're honoring her inner world. Allowing this kind of touch is her way of giving herself up emotionally, offering trust beyond the physical. These zones operate because women respond to touch through emotion and neurological pathways, not just physical sense. Research shows the skin in these areas is particularly sensitive, and mild contact generates oxytocin, the hormone that creates trust, connection, and emotional openness. These aren't erogenous zones. They are emotional receptors saying you are secure here. The practical approach is simple. Slow down. Notice her replies. Use these touches naturally in everyday times. Be consistent and remain totally present. One man recently said, "I don't know what changed, but she felt closer." That's the essence. Women may not label the change, but they feel it intensely. These 7 zones aren't buttons to press. They are doors to her emotions. Each touch with attention and sincerity indicates, "I perceive you. I respect you. You matter." That is what ladies actually seek. Not performance, not expectation, but true connection. And it's never too late to start. Sometimes a single mindful, genuine touch can launch an altogether new chapter in your relationship. When we talk about connecting with a woman on a deeper level, it's crucial to recognize that touch is only part of the equation. What actually counts is the emotional and psychological depth beneath it. Women are wired to respond to gestures that express care, awareness, and respect long before their bodies reveal any physical emotion. It's not about speed, intensity, or technique. It's about presence. Every small movement, every gentle touch conveys whether you are actually there with her or simply going through the motions. The way a hand lingers on hers, the tenderness of a touch at the nape of the neck, the warmth of a hand resting on her back. These are all ways of stating, "I see you, I value you, you're safe with me." Over time, these actions create trust and emotional connection, sometimes more than language ever could. Many men overlook how much women pick up from these tiny behaviors, and yet small moments typically carry considerably more weight than great speeches or actions. It's about establishing an environment where she feels observed, respected, and secure, and where her emotional world is acknowledged as much as her physical presence. Even mundane moments, a peaceful morning together, a shared cup of coffee, a hug in the kitchen, become opportunities to reaffirm that connection when addressed with awareness and care. It's also worth remembering that women's answers are subtle and layered. A calm breath, a relaxed posture, a modest smile. They may appear tiny, but they are her way of communicating warmth and emotional resonance. The science behind it demonstrates that emotional touch generates oxytocin, the hormone of trust and bonding, which enhances emotional connection in a manner that physical attraction alone cannot. This is why relationships that value this kind of focused, purposeful contact tend to endure longer, feel more connected, and maintain a level of closeness that endures stress, routine, and the passage of time. Learning these tiny indicators and responding with true presence is not just about boosting intimacy. It's about developing a partnership built in respect, caring, and emotional understanding. When a man actually notices, listens with his hands as much as with his ears, and approaches his partner with sincerity, he doesn't merely improve her pleasure. He strengthens the foundation of the relationship itself. Over time, these modest, mindful touches and gestures develop a language, a quiet but powerful communication that expresses love, trust, and security. It's a reminder that intimacy is far more than physical contact. It's emotional attunement, it's connection, and it's the realization that every action matters. This strategy transforms regular conversations into moments that develop love and understanding, revealing that when a man invests in emotional presence, the bond he has with his girlfriend becomes richer, more robust, and more rewarding. When we step back and look at the wider picture, it becomes evident that these 7 zones are not just about physical touch. They are about understanding, presence, and emotional connection. Men typically think intimacy is a series of actions or motions, but for women, it begins far before any bodily response. It starts with safety, trust, and the feeling that someone actually sees and values them. Each of these zones, the hands, the nape of the neck, the lower back, behind the ears, the shoulder blades, the inner thighs, and the lower belly, is a gateway to her emotional world. Approached with sincerity, patience, and care, they communicate more than words ever could. Touch becomes a discourse, a language without speech, where every gesture tells her, "I am here. I respect you. You matter." This is why many couples who learn these simple yet profound ways of connecting report deeper intimacy, stronger emotional relationships, and renewed closeness even after years together. The science is obvious. Oxytocin, trust, and emotional openness are activated not by technique alone, but by the intention behind the touch. Women sense it in subtle ways. The pause in her breath, the softening of her stance, the way she leans in even when she doesn't speak a word. These zones aren't formulas or shortcuts. They're portals that lead to actual emotional presence. And the most crucial reality is this: it's never too late to start. Even one mindful, attentive touch can transform the energy of a relationship, open channels of trust, and spark emotional closeness that may have been dormant for years. When men learn to approach these zones with care, respect, and earnest attention, they don't simply touch a body, they touch a woman's heart, mind, and soul. That is the essence of true connection. And it is far more strong, far more permanent than anything physical alone can possibly produce. So take this understanding, apply it with intention, and observe how your presence, your patience, and your touch affect not just her response, but the fundamental rhythm of your connection, ship itself. The journey to closeness is not complex, but it demands awareness, sincerity, and the willingness to actually see her. When you do, you don't simply create moments. You establish a lifetime of connection,